Something is happening with the sun right now. It's approaching the peak of its solar cycle. So what does that mean for us? Well, Matt Melnyk is an aurora borealis expert, a pilot, and a photographer, and that is an ideal combination to take us through what is happening. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hi, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for non-scientists, including myself, can you walk us through what the solar cycle is?
So basically, every 10 years, the sun is on a cycle. Right now, we're at the point where it's reaching its solar maximum, and that will peak in July 2025. So what that means is the sun has way more sunspots, and these sunspots are way more active. So there's more chances of those sunspots unleashing a solar flare. And when that solar flare is Earth directed, it mixes in with the magnetic field in the north and south poles, and that's what causes the aurora borealis.
So what kind of impact does this have on Earth then?
As long as we don't get radio blackouts, if they stay, pretty weak, it's just a great show for all of us, really. During the equinox, so fall and spring equinox, those two periods are when you will, by history, you'll see more frequent aurora sightings. So I'm looking forward to doing more overseas flights this month over to Europe so where I can see great aurora shows from the aircraft.
How do you stay focused on flying when there are these beautiful light shows happening in front of you?
I get asked that a lot. There's two of us up there and only one person's in control of the plane. Plus it's on autopilot. So, yeah, no, it's a great time up there. It's pretty relaxed, pretty chill. And it's just beautiful to just watch the show.
Can you talk just a little bit about the best way, one, to see them, and then if somebody wants to take photographs of them too?
Absolutely. So it starts off in steps. The first step is you need to understand space weather and how it works. And for newbies, there's lots of great resources out there. So if you go to spaceweather.com, you can download their app. The app is called Space Weather Live. And this app will actually send you notifications and give you heads up when the sun unleashes a solar flare. So once you know that, you already have like a 3 days heads up. So from that point, then you can start planning and say, okay, if the solar flare left on Sunday, Tuesday night could be an aurora night. And at that point, you want to start getting into weather forecasting. If it's overcast, raining, and snowing, then there's no point in going out because you're just not going to see anything. But if, let's say there's a high pressure area there and the skies are perfectly clear, then great. And the third thing you need is that the data actually is producing something. We can get many solar flares that are Earth directed that don't actually produce anything. Three things you want to look for in the aurora data. One is solar wind. That number should be above 300 into like 400, 500, 600, and we're talking kilometers a second. That's how fast the solar wind is moving. The next thing you want to look at is the KP index. The KP index is measured on a scale of 1 to 9. 1 meaning it's going to be at the Arctic Circle, very far north. 9 meaning it could come all the way down to south of Texas into Florida. If you notice a KP index of 5 or 6, everybody in Canada will probably see something that night if the skies are clear. And the third thing you want to look at is the BZ. So what the BZ is our interplanetary field. And that is basically our poles. And if that number is in the negative, that's a great thing. That means that our magnetic field has accepted that those particles from the sun. And if it's pointed north, it could be regardless of what the solar wind is and what the KP index is, you might not see anything at all. So it's very complex, but that's probably the simplest way I can put it in for you.
That's a great way to explain it, though. As somebody who is not a scientist, but I'm amazed with what happens in the world above us, that made sense to me. And just quickly, if somebody does want to take photos, again, do you have some tips for that on is there a chance people can take pictures of it? Obviously, go someplace where it's dark or where there's not a lot of light pollution.
If it's clear and it's active, you could be downtown Calgary, downtown Edmonton, Winnipeg, it doesn't matter. However, if you want to maximize your viewing experience, then you want to get away from light polluted areas. So go somewhere dark, like find a nice lake or something, or a campground or something like that. And that will definitely increase and make your aurora experience much better as opposed to watching it somewhere where light pollution is present.
Matt, I know there's so much to talk about with this. I absolutely love this topic. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.